Brilliant. Okay, super. Now, thanks very much for coming along this afternoon and taking the time to join us all. Today's webinar will be as interactive as possible, really. I know we're not in the flesh face-to-face, but we will make it as interactive as possible. So feel free to ask questions. I have done this webinar a couple of times now, so it's not my session, it's your session. So feel free to ask as many questions as you like. It doesn't matter when they come. I'm quite happy for questions to come in. You can either put them into the chat box, put your hand up, or shout out. It's not a problem. I don't really mind at all. So things for there, just keep things moving. I'd much rather you ask the question than be sitting there thinking about the question that you're going to ask. So if you could do that, that'd be great. By nature, the webinar is quite generic, really. It's quite a sort of marketing based. However, as a kind of thank you for coming along, I'll be putting aside some time in my diary and I'll email out some slots for you to sort of to take up. And that's a free sort of session, a 1 hour session to sort of follow up, discuss any thoughts you might have in more detail. So that would be a sort of, that's my sort of little gift for you for sharing your time with me this afternoon. So otherwise it'd be really dull and boring if I sat looking at my screen all afternoon, which I don't really want to be doing. I'll say recording the session, I'll share the slides as well. So there's no need. Some of the slides are a bit weighty, really, in fairness, but I'll share the slides, but I won't be reading them all out verbatim. That's a terrible thing. I don't know. I never do that. So it'll be as active as possible. So I'll share the slides, but if you want to make notes, because I know when I like to make notes and it helps me to remember things. So let's get started. So make your marketing more memorable, 12 critical steps. So there's 12 points we're going to cover. Let's start. So, this is me, just a tiny little bit about me. That's me with some of my customers. I've got a wife and 3 daughters. We're really keen on skiing and sports in general. So that's us up in France somewhere. I forget where now. And then the little fella on the right, the left-hand side of the 2 little people, that's me. And that was our food store in West London. So I should be called Arkwright or Granville. If you know Open All Hours, you'll think it's funny. If you don't know those shows, you won't. But I should be called Arkwright or Granville. Luckily, I'm called Steve. So that's probably a saving grace. But my mum and dad's store, grocery store was there at the bottom of the road, and then opposite was my granddad and nan's newsagent. So sort of retailing is pretty much in my blood, really. I think coaching I've got into for the last this is my 8th year of doing this now, which I really like. I really like helping people and seeing people reach their full potential, really, be it whichever sort of age they are. One thing that I'm really keen on at the moment that I've been using is that there's lots of bad news coming along, and there always is bad news because we just watch the news. But this, at the moment, it seems particularly bad news. Period. So this is one of the slides I've seen. And I thought, well, that's a really good way of looking at things, really. So we can't adjust the wind, i.e., the good bad news that's happening. I used to have a slide which had Brexit on it, had Donald Trump on it, had North Korea on it. Those kind of things have sort of disappeared now, and we've got other issues. So we can't actually adjust the things that are surrounding and happening on us, but we can adjust our sails and make sure that we're going in the right direction. So hopefully that makes sense. So we can do some things. So can we speak to more business owners if we want to be, if business owners are going to grow our business? Well, the answer is probably yes. And certainly marketing will be a great way of doing it. So we'll get into some detail and some hints and ideas that you can take away and use and put into your own business straight away, either this evening or tomorrow. Now then, I've got a quick question for you. So I said I want to make it as interactive as possible. What is marketing? So what is marketing? So if you could just jot down in the chat, it'd probably be easier to jot something in the chat box if you could. So what is marketing? What's your impression of what do you think marketing is? Just a little sentence, that'd be great. And I'll read out some of the answers. come in. Hi, Kat.
Hello there, how you doing, Steve?
Yeah,
Sorry
fine,
for the late one.
That's okay. We've just started, really. So all we've done really is said hello, and we've just asked the question, what is marketing? Mm-hmm. So if you can pop down as succinctly as you can in the chat box, that'd be great. Vashel. Brilliant. And then Vashel's there as well. Let me have a... Well, Brenda's still trying to connect. Matt, are you there? Vashel, are you there? Are you there? I can see your name, but I can't see you're on mute at the moment.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Did you get that question? So thanks for coming along. It's just, yeah, what is marketing?
Yeah. I'm
just typing something out. Brilliant. Let me see what some people have written. Oh, this is good. Look, so I'm looking for my own marketing definition, really. So I'm cheating a bit, really. So if there's any on these good ones, I'll be pinching that for sure for the next webinar. So we've got Nia with providing valuable content to your target audience. Nice. Attracting, converting and wowing your customers. Jules. Yeah, like it. Very good. Donna is telling people what products and services you offer as a business. Yeah, definitely. Dorothy saying giving potential customers engaging information about your brand, services and products. Yeah, definitely. Karen, you've got showing potential clients the value of your product or service and how it benefits them. Good. Yeah, I saw that. Don't worry, Dorothy. Showcasing your brand. Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Kat. Matt, marketing is a process of creating communication to let customers know about your products or services. Brilliant. Yeah, no, I'd agree with all of those. Well, let me just let Pravin in. Pravin. Okay, cool. Brilliant. Now you're hopefully I expect you're expecting me to come up with some wowy definition of marketing. Well, unlucky. I haven't got a definition of that. I think you probably all said it, really. I think it is a bit of helping you stand out and attract customers, really, isn't it? That's what we're looking at doing. How can we attract customers with our marketing so that we can then grow our business with more customers, if that's what we want, or if the type of customers that we want is that person or people that we're bringing into our sales funnel. So that's all we're trying to do, really. I suppose for marketing, we want to be getting people into our sales funnel, converting them into clients or customers, and they keep and stay with us on a regular basis. So really, if it's standing out, there's nothing unusual about this herd of cattle, group of cows. It's not a massive herd. But if they were like this, there was a purple cow, suddenly we'd be driving along or we'd be noticing, hang on a minute, there's a cow that looks very different there. And that would be a great idea of marketing. I don't know whether anyone's has read the book Purple Cow by Seth Godin. Has anyone heard of Seth Godin? He's a marketing guru from America, and he's written a book called Purple Cow, and it's all about standing out from the crowd, really. So making yourself noticed. Yeah, he's amazing, Jules. Yeah, you're right. I actually get his daily. He does a daily little blog, really, or it's a kind of an email you get every day. And he'll be every single day, with Saturday, Sunday, every day, whether it's him or he does it, or one of his team, doesn't really matter, but certainly a really good marketing, very good strong global marketing superstar, really. So he's read this book, Purple Cow, about standing out. So if we want to stand out, so we need to be standing out, and we also need to be looking at our customer's journey. So how do your clients know how to get you, or how to find you? So know your client. How are they going to find you? Strategy by strategy. And then go, well, and then what happens? And then what? I'm going to do a webinar. Then what? I'm going to do a seminar. Then what? I'm going to have a website. Then what? I've got a newsletter. Then what? So there's lots of different avenues, and we really talk about 10 by 10, so 10 different strategies, and you have 10 versions of those strategies. So the emails that you use would be different each time, and we'll be testing and measuring to see whether they work or not. Just check this. How do you spell Seth Godin? Yeah. Good question. Yeah, I have got a book, but I've lent it out to him. To spell Seth Godin is SETHGODIN. If I put it in the chat box, it's probably easier. Seth Godin. That's it. Brilliant. Hopefully you've got that. Great. Super. Thanks for that. Now, so going on your journey, so you've got the journey. So we really want to be shifting our strategy, really. So the strategy's got to kind of change. So we really want to be looking to help other people rather than just receiving customers for our benefit, really. Because everyone likes to buy things, but no one likes to be sold to. I think that's pretty much a standard case for most folk, to be fair. So we want to be making sure we deliver solutions and improve our customer experience and enhance those sort of loyalty benefits, really. So how can we do that, really? That's what we're probably going to be looking at this afternoon. So how can we help that? So have a message there. And really, we want to be making sure that we empathize, engage and educate. So it's all about educating people. So we want to be giving value to people. So help and give value rather than ask. So for instance, Seth Godin's regular email, is always putting information in and suggestions and giving his thoughts and messages and education. And then he will bring in a call to action, so that he will look to sell something, or would look to for you to buy something from him. But it's certainly not the first thing he does by a long shot. Anyone got any ideas why I've put the BBC, a picture of the BBC there in a marketing presentation? Anyone? Any ideas?
What's the question again?
Sorry, yeah. Hang on, sorry. Yeah, what the question is, why have I put a picture of the BBC or a BBC microphone on a marketing presentation? I'm going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to tell you now. Hang on. Someone's put something in the chat, but to end. Oh, who's that? Entertain, educate, and what was the other one, Dorothy? Can you remember? Inform. Yeah, very good. So, yeah, when and it's on the 18th of October, the BBC will be 100 years old, and when they launched, their mission was to inform, entertain, and educate. So, how cool is that? So, inform, entertain, educate. 100 years ago. So we're saying things now like empathize, engage and educate 100 years later. So fundamentals certainly don't change, do they? So that's why that's in there. So be careful. So I think, you know, what we need to get our message across, that we are engaging and educating, and certainly not looking to be selling to people, really. That's the least things we want to be doing. Here's something that's a great little book. This guy called Andy Bounds, and he's written a book called Top Dog and the Jelly Effect. So it's Andy Bounds, and it's just Bounds. And his idea is be very clear on your afters. So after you've bought my product or service, this is how you will feel. Yeah. So for instance, no one really wants to go to the gym and say, right, I'll tell you what we're going to do in the gym. You're going to do 100 press ups, 100 sit ups, 1,000 burpees. And that's what you're going to be doing. No one is really going to be buying that. No one's interested in doing that. But they might be saying, well, actually, yeah, how do you want to get fit for the summer? Or do you want to get fit for the winter skiing? Do you want to be fit and feel healthier? That's what people are buying, not the fact that they're going to be doing all these exercises. So no one, for instance, wants business coaching. They just want the results that the coaching may give you. So think about in your business, what is it that you are, what you're after? So after you've bought something, what is it that they will experience? So it could be for, say, insurance. It could be the peace of mind that I've got my house insurance has been, say, renewed. I've got peace of mind that if anything happened to my house, I would be covered and I would get my money back, or get some of my possessions back. So be aware of what are your afters. Does that make sense? So it's making sure what your afters are, rather than the actual process. And just to sort of drill it home a bit further, if you had a hole in your roof and you've got water coming into the roof, into your house, you don't really want to know how the roofer is going to fix that hole. I'm not really that interested. All I want him to do, or her, is to fix that hole. So afterwards, I want a roof that keeps my house dry. That's the afters. I'm really not interested in, oh, well, I'm going to come along and then I'm going to get a ladder and then I'm going to go up there, and no one's really interested in that. And I think we're in danger of going down the trap of saying what we do, and people aren't necessarily interested in what we do. They're interested in what do we do for them. Does that make sense? Is there's quite a difference there? Does that make sense? Hopefully so. Good. Okay. Now, going on to your website, really, and something that we just touched on there, really. I'm not going to read out all of these things here, because I say you're going to get the slides, but I thought it's good to say, have a check of your website. Could be a real good action point for your website and your LinkedIn profile and anywhere else you appear, sort of business-wise. Have a check and see how many times you say we. So we do this, or I do this, or I've done that, rather than you will benefit, Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, you will get this, you will receive that. This is the value you'll be looking at. So that we versus you. So we want to be done. I don't want to be saying, oh yeah, we've done this, we've done that, we've been around for so many years. So have a little bit of a we check on your website and just see how you're. I'll be interested to know your scores on that. So don't do it now, but certainly something to do for the future for sure. Have a little look at that a we check. And interestingly, I know we said about the BBC being 100 years old. Content is King, essay by Bill Gates, 1996. So again, it's nothing is really jumping out, is it really, as being brand new? But content is king. So that's where it came from. And interestingly, this isn't new either. Old MacDonald had a farm. And if you know the song, Old MacDonald had a farm, and then it's E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm, blah, blah, blah. So your message, your content should entertain, inspire, educate, inform, and open a dialogue. That would be great. So asking questions. You see lots of people now putting in LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all those platforms a question. Oh, what is your favorite book? I've just finished reading this book or that book. Or I've done this or seen that. What would be your favorite? What are your comments? And they're trying to get that dialogue to open, aren't they, really? So that'd be looking at helping that dialogue along. Hopefully that makes sense. So E-I-E-I-O, Old MacDonald. Now then, this is another guy, a guy called Philip Hesketh. And he's a really great salesperson, sales trainer. Interestingly, a little bit about him. He's from Harrogate. He lives up in Harrogate. We saw him at one of our conferences a few years back now. And he said, what I would like to happen is for it not to rain in February. And we're all sort of looking around, what? Not going to, in Harrogate in Yorkshire, not rain in February? I don't think that's going to happen. And he says, oh, yeah, it does for me, because I go and live in live in Australia. So he goes down to Australia in February. And of course, in February, it's the middle of our summer, so it's probably unlikely to rain. So it's just a different perception on making things happen. And he came out with a really good thing that I use regularly with my clients and people I want to be to my prospective clients as well. And this is my daughter's, one of my daughters has just graduated from Liverpool, and we were up there last week. And in the big shopping centre, we went by this big Liverpool shop. So Liverpool FC, a huge Liverpool shop. So interesting. I thought, I know one of my clients, Graham, he's a really keen Liverpool fan. So I just quickly took a picture, and then I sent him the picture, and all I wrote on the message was, I saw this and thought of you. And that's all you need to do. So just do that on a kind of regular basis. I know Philip Hesketh, he actually gets hold of Which magazine. And so he's very proactively looking for things for sort of for car manufacturers or for appliance people, and makes a real sort of effort to it. I think I kind of like the spontaneity of it, really. So I'm just wandering around, or I'm always aware of things, but it's like, oh, I know Graham, he's a really keen Liverpool fan. I saw this and sent it to him. And I could have done that to a number of different Liverpool fans, I suppose. But hopefully you get the idea that it could be whatever. If you saw a TV show or anything and anything, really, you can use that. And if it's just a little message, because the good thing is then putting you at front of their mind, just for that split second. So hopefully at the moment, I'm front of your mind, because you're hopefully looking and listening. But I know for a fact, come 5 o'clock when the webinar ends, I'll be getting further and further from the front of your brain and front of your mind as things happen, and I'm going to be drifting away, and doing the little, I saw this and thought of you, bang, gets you back into the front of it again. Does that make sense? Dorothy, can you put your thumbs? Does that make sense? A thumbs up? Brilliant. Cool. So yeah, Liverpool. And interestingly, Graham wrote back straight away on this, because apparently there's a Liverpool shop, 2 doors down, there is an Everton shop. And the Everton shop, unfortunately, is a bit smaller. So there you go. So I saw this and thought of you, is Philip Hesketh thought. Still on step 4, really. Still on content. There's Seth Godin. There's how you spell his name as well. I forgot we had a slide of him coming along. So yeah, content marketing is all the marketing that's left. And really, it's interesting, isn't it? When I know Action Coach as a group, when the pandemic took hold, everyone was marketing like mad and really doing a lot. I was doing a webinar every week. And now I do one every month. And then I'm thinking of, well, maybe I should do one every quarter. And you think, well, hang on a minute, that's probably wrong. You probably should go back to doing it weekly, or being more visible weekly, to get that sort of body of work there, really. And I say, Seth Godin does send out a daily note, and lots of these Americans do a daily note. So it always makes me chuckle when us people in Britain say, "Oh, I don't want to be pestering anyone. Oh no, I can't be doing that." When they send in a monthly newsletter, well, you certainly not be pestering anyone, really, compared to what some of these guys do. So think about how you can get your content out there, really. So you've got blogs and videos, social media posts on the different platforms. You've got videos. I mean, we could do a live video now. I'll be recording, and then I'll save the recording onto my YouTube channel. You could do interviews really easily now on Zoom and Teams. That was a really good thing that people can see, can't they, really? Just to get an idea of you and your marketplace and what you do in your business. You've got case studies are great, because if I say I'm good, no one believes me. But if one of my clients has been with me many years, says I'm good, you're probably more likely to believe them, for sure. So sharing checklists and ebooks, there's lots of different areas that you can use to market your business now. So for blogs or video blogs, have a compelling lead. So that first paragraph, and my little notes here say to remind you that always when you go and see a James Bond film, for instance, if you see James Bond, the start of it is one of the bang, it hits you. It's usually it gets going and wow, you're drawn into the film, aren't you? On the Bond film, it's action straight away. So it's always a brilliant start. You get hooked in on it and what's going to happen, what's next coming down the track. So it's always that kind of compelling thing. So don't start off with, and again, when film stars talk about their latest film, they never ever say, well, it's another James Bond film. It won't be very interesting, I'm sure. You've seen it all before. They're never going to say that, are they, really? So you've got to be a bit more excited about things and get things moving. So think about...
Wait.
Hi, Brenda. So yeah, so have a compelling lead, and then have a strong call to action at the end of the
Hey, come on.
Sorry, is that you, Brenda? No, I'll carry on. So have a strong call to action, so that at the end.
I know, huh?
I've just seen. I'll have a strong call to action, so that you know that people know what to do next. What's the next step? What do you want me to do? So what is the next step? So start well and end well, and then we can move from into the beginning. Let's just have a look at that. Hi. I just found this chat screen. Oh, well done, Brenda. Good. You've got the chat screen. Super. Lovely job. We'll ask some more questions coming along the line. Certainly, when you're doing videos, and this kind of goes for the same as any kind of postings that you're doing, really. Build on the things that your customers respond to, not what you like or think is important. So it's a bit like the property shows that you see when people are revamping a property. If they go too far down the line of, I really like this, I really like that, this, that, and the other, it's not mainstream enough for everyone to get involved. So it tends to be things that you probably might like, things that other people don't like. So respond to what people like rather than what people don't like necessarily. And it's always good to add a video. If you can get some videos into your marketing, then all well and good. FaceTime is really easy to use. So getting cracking into that. Zoom's really easy to use. Teams are really easy to use. I've got a question for you now. On social media, so refreshing your social media presence. So I'm not going to read through all these slides. So you'll get a copy of the slides. It gives you some real clear things to actually do. On the social media front, what's your preferred platform? I'm just trying to get an idea of what's the best platform that people use, or what the top 2 platforms that people use. So you've got the a 90-10 rule there. 2 platforms get 90% of your attention, and the rest just probably get 10% of your attention. So let's have a look and see what's coming in. I'll be interested to see. So you should be able to pop that in the chat. Okay, go on. Link. Oh yeah, look. Jules is down with the kids. LI, LinkedIn. Matt, LinkedIn. So LinkedIn too. Instagram, Ollie. Cool. Then we've got Brenda, Facebook and LinkedIn. LinkedIn and Facebook. I know there's always someone that doesn't, put 2 down. Ask for two, and they give you 4. So Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And luckily, I know Dorothy, so I'm allowed to be a bit cheeky towards her. But the top 2. So would that top 2 be Twitter and Facebook, Dorothy, or LinkedIn and Instagram? You're on mute.
I think it'd be, well, I'm not quite sure about my customers, but I prefer Twitter and LinkedIn. Yet to find out which you can actually cause some interest really.
Okay. Oh, you're a bit faint. I couldn't quite grab that.
Oh, sorry, am I too far away from my mic?
Yeah. I bet you got a big fluffy mic as well.
I have.
Yeah, close. So what did you say? Sorry, Twitter and Facebook, or
Twitter and LinkedIn, but I haven't really noticed much interaction from my posts on those, I must admit.
right? Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Brilliant. Thanks for that, Matt. Although Facebook is great for sharing, most Facebook pages are more personal, so not ideally a great target audience. Yeah, it depends depends what you're selling, isn't it, really, or what's your products or services. LinkedIn and Facebook, Nia, brilliant. Cool. And there's no right or wrong answers on this, really. It's just what works for you in your demographic, and who are your ideal clients and where are they hanging out, really. That's the thing. If everyone's, if you're selling some young, trendy trainers or whatever, you probably want to be on TikTok. If you're selling a business-to-business accountancy practice, perhaps you want to be on LinkedIn. So you probably want to just gauge where they're stronger. Certainly test and measure. Really, test and measure is the key thing that we're looking at. When you say focus on what they like, do you also mean that should avoid mentioning them? Really, I meant focusing on what they like, really, is to what's getting more traction on the posts, that you get more reaction. So if something's getting more reaction, I'll just check. Yeah, here we are. That's perfect. So these are a couple of posts I've done, and I've been drilling around. And this is the post on the left there is on LinkedIn, and this is myself and my wife and my middle daughter up at Liverpool. So she's just passed a physiotherapy degree up in Loughborough. Up in Liverpool. And look at that is my personal best ever so far. Anyway, number of impressions, so 4,276 impressions. I found 136 people actually engage or press the like button or react, if you like. React, that's the right word. And then 21 comments. Now, if I put anything on business, like come to my webinar, I've done this, I've read, if I read a book and then put a book on there, I probably get about 500 impressions if I'm lucky. And some things come to my webinar, I might get 20 or 50. But it just shows you, doesn't it, really? It's still the same platform, but I've got 426, 4,276 impressions there. Let's just see what it's at. Yeah, people, perfect. Yeah, Ollie, you just hit the nail on the head there, really, isn't it? People love a personal story. And again, my previous best was the one on the right-hand side, and that's 2,372. And I think the previous best before that was a picture of me and my youngest daughter right at the start of lockdown, running across the A1 where there was no traffic around, and it was a really early picture. So my personal side on LinkedIn far outweighs anything I do business-wise. So if I want to get connected up with people, it just goes to show I'm not blatantly saying this, that, and the other. It's just that personal side. But interestingly, my question to you is, do you know what your personal best post has been? What is it? Is it a picture of your cat, your dog, your fish, your guinea pig?
I wanted to ask Steve, Was
Yeah.
there copy attached? Was there copy attached to these pictures as well, or was it just the pictures that you posted?
All I said really was, I think on that the LinkedIn, I think I've just put on the one on the right. I've just put a little couple of sentences. I didn't actually tag anyone in. I didn't tag anything. I just said, after 10 years of being a weekend warrior, so weekend warrior, only going at the weekend, I finally become a full-time member at David Lloyd. And then the other one was, I think it was proud, something along the lines of proud parent. Congratulations, Katie. She's passed physiotherapy first at Liverpool. So that very minimal, really. No one, I don't think anyone, I mean, if you're like me, when it says read more, do you ever read more when someone's written a lot? And it might be if it's engaging.
Oh yeah, I'm one of the sad ones. I press see more.
Oh, do you? Oh, yeah. Some people do, don't they? So they would be going, oh yeah, see more, and scroll down. So you've got to get a good mix, haven't you, really, just to see, well, what of your posts, which ones get the most traction. And it could well be, depending on what you do, is to get a slightly different audience, for sure. But I suppose my point of this really is know what your best post looks like. So I know it was my youngest daughter, then it was just me, and now it's me with my middle daughter. So I'm pleased about that. So I expect she will be as well. Right. This is a good point, Jules, isn't it? Always best to have the early part of your copy as a teaser to get people to read more. Yeah. So again, it's that James Bond scenario, isn't it? If the story there is James Bond action, is grabbing someone as a good hook, then you will read more, won't you, really? So I sometimes will read more if it's caught my attention, for sure. And that's interesting, really. Cool. Hopefully that answers that question. So yeah, have a look. And again, I've just done this on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my number one platform, really. So I've done it on LinkedIn, and I do share things across on Facebook and Twitter. I know you say, people say you should change change the post, but sometimes there's return on investment and there's return on effort. And just to copy and paste, is return on effort is it's really easy, isn't it, really? So I'm guilty of that laziness, I'm afraid. Hang on, someone's going to be telling, yeah. So it's people team that grabs strong engagement here. Yeah, people like to know that you're human. It's being humble and genuine. Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Ollie. Very good. I wouldn't disagree with that at all. Very good. Very good. They want to know you're a person. So LinkedIn, again, I'm not going to read through all these hints and tips. There's too many there, but try not to. Some of the things I've learned over the times is if you're doing you've got a link to a post, don't to somewhere else, don't put that in the body of the post itself, because what it'll do is it then you're sending customers off of the site, off of LinkedIn. And if you're LinkedIn, you want people to stay on LinkedIn. So for instance, I would do a picture where I say, right, this is my webinar, but then I put the link in a comment below. So don't put the link in the piece itself, put the link in the comments below, and then that will be a better result for you. And interestingly, this has come from an Australian guy that's doing some LinkedIn training. People ask him, well, what's the best time to put things on LinkedIn? And he said, well, it's a global platform, so whatever time it is, there's always, what's the song? It's 5 o'clock somewhere, so you're allowed to have a beer. So it's along those lines, really. Whatever time you put, if it's on LinkedIn and you're trying to reach out to people, time might be important. So have a little look on that. And be careful on the sort of putting too many. Just quickly go back. So I know this has happened to one of my guys I know. Don't be too confrontational. So he's been kicked off of blocked by LinkedIn for being too confrontational. Certainly, there's one there that if you're trying to request to too many people, that LinkedIn don't like that. And if you're being too confrontational, they won't like it either. Facebook boosts and ads and creating ads on Facebook. I'm not the expert on that by any means. Get a digital marketing expert involved. All right, I think they're there. So that would be my hint and tips on that for sure. Oh yeah, Dorothy, link in a comment, not post, except if it's a link to your website. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Agree with that. Cool, brilliant. So that's the step 8, all about Facebook post. Step 9, again, that's kind of a not such a something that does happen. How many emails do you open and get engagement? Something to, again, I just think for that split second, you're now front of mind of someone, and as long as you're not spamming someone every day, whether it's a monthly newsletter, don't call it a newsletter because no one really reads newsletters. So it's a monthly hints and tips, monthly advice, monthly whatever it is. Just change. Don't say newsletter, because as soon as you write newsletter, no one really reads newsletters, for sure. Yeah. All right. Okay. Actually, Jules has put another question there. Actually, don't link to your website. The LinkedIn algorithm will decrease your post in people's feeds. Yes, LinkedIn in the comments. Yeah, so that's kind of linking down onto the next level piece, really. Yeah, okay, I agree with that. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so data building, database building. So again, how can you gather data? I know we've changed from GDPR, so make sure you're compliant along those lines. That database building we're looking at. Email marketing, which is then, so we've got a database, we then can do some email marketing, and it would be always good to segment your audiences. So I'm sure there's certain products, you know, for instance, I can be coaching a business. One of my biggest client is 8 million turnover. And then I've got someone who's a one-man band and one-woman band, and they turn over probably £20,000 so for a year. So they shouldn't really get the same message for the same thing. It's going to be a different message to different people, whether they've got teams or not, for sure. Yeah, yeah, LinkedIn. Yeah, that's good. So pop it in the bit. Does that make sense? Or if we put it, so don't put it in the post, put it in the comments below. It could be go to my website or link into there. Because again, if you think about it, if you're LinkedIn, you want people to be on LinkedIn platform. So again, with Google, the Google want to be promoting dodgy, slow, out of date websites that no one's ever been. You know, it's almost like opening a door to a crusty old castle that no one's ever seen. Who wants to be going in there, really? That's definitely the case on that, really. They want to be getting people to look and stay on their sites and their platforms. E-marketing, look at MailerLite, as it's easy to use, as an easy use system. Brilliant, thanks, Jules. That's a great tip. MailerLite. I heard of that. I've used MailChimp, but not MailerLite. Excellent. Cool. LinkedIn have the power on LinkedIn, not us. yeah, too. Right. Cool. I agree with that. All right. Okay. Right now, so that's 10. We're nearly there. That's point number 10. Point 11 is create landing pages, and landing pages could be as simple as a Eventbrite post. So that's a kind of landing page for my event that I'm running or webinar. So have some landing pages, and you can then segment out your customer. So if you're, say you're an accountant and you're looking at different segments, you could create different customers. Say you've got one that's like aviation, so you could have a landing page for aviation and pilots. You could have a landing page for construction. You could have a landing page for bathroom or kitchen showrooms, along those lines, rather than just being one big mass that's trying to appeal to everyone. So you can just sort of spread out and then niche down. So people are obviously looking to niche as much as they can. Google AdWords, another one of those areas I'm not the expert in by a long shot. find a person that you trust that's going to be that is an expert on this kind of thing. Because again, Google are changing their analytics on a very regular basis. So just when you think you've got it sorted and you're on page 1, they'll change things. So AdWords and Google, there will be something that you're looking at with the help of an expert, really, someone who's doing it all the time. I think our message really would be test and measure. So try and test out what works. You know, if you send an email out at, for instance, at 9 o'clock in the morning, you can check the open rates. Does it get more open rates than sending it out at lunchtime or sending it out in the evening? So you can get the time of day, what days work best. And it will be different depending on the different businesses that everyone's in. So test and measure, and then you can then make a decision on something. So if you haven't got any data, it's a bit like sports. If you don't know what the score is, what's your strategy? You know, are we winning or are we losing? If we're winning, we might bring on some defenders to keep it tight and win. Or if we're losing, we might bring on some attackers to get some more goals to try and get to win. But if we don't know what's working, so what is your PBs or what is the best things that work? How can we grow our business? Google Analytics has been found to be illegal in Holland, France, Austria, and Italy. Interesting. Not England yet, or Britain. Not yet, anyway. Cool. Now then, I've got a little quick quiz for you. So marketing is maths, really. Ultimately, people want, perhaps people want more customers or more business or more money to do whatever they want to do with that money. So how much do we need to spend to collect more customers that are going to spend more money? So all we're doing really is buying customers. So where do we want to buy? And I say buy, we could use money or we could use time and effort to buy customers. So is that a worthwhile use of our time or money? So I'm gonna run with who's any willing volunteer. I'm after a willing volunteer just to run with this. Anyone like to run with it before I pick someone? Hello, you all. Come on, it's either Ket. Come on, you look like you're going to be the man. You're going to be the man that's going to do this. Simple.
Coming in. Let's go with it.
Fine.
I'll take one for the team.
Take one on. Yeah, good man. You're good. Step forward for us. So this is the decision. Strategy A against strategy B. All right. Strategy A costs £1,000. Strategy B costs £1,000. Which strategy would you go with on this basis? You can only go with one at each point.
They're both the same, right?
Doesn't matter.
There's not a type, but I'm going to go with B because I like blue better.
Yeah, blue is the colour. Yeah, good man. Right, so blue. Now then, number of leads. From strategy A, you've got 1,000 leads. Strategy B, you've only got 100. Which would
no brainer?
Right?
A, no brainer.
Good. Conversion rate of the sales of from A, you've got 100 sales, so you're on a 10% conversion rate. So you're doing an awful lot of work. Against B, 50%, 50 conversion rate. So it's a 50% conversion rate.
Yeah, but it costs the same.
Yeah.
I think I'll stick with A.
Stick with A. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I know percentage wise,
yeah,
he's killing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, number is volume, right?
Yeah,
Let's go with volume.
Done a lot of work, but that's fine. That's good. Now, average order value in A, it turns out to be £500 against B, which is £1,000.
So I get 50 grand and 50 grand. I'll say it's the same again, right? If my math serves me correctly.
That works out the same, really. It's a bit cheeky.
Oh, I'm gonna
so stay with whichever one you like. Then
Yeah.
average profit per sale is £200 against £200.
I'm going to stick with A the whole way through just because of that cost per conversion
All right.
ratio.
Okay. Now then, this is interesting. Lifetime value for everyone that buys from you from A strategy is £5,000, but the lifetime value for B is £10,000.
Now B sounds more
Sounds more attractive, isn't it? Cool.
attractive there. Yeah. So B. Yeah, I'll switch over to B now.
Lovely. Then the last one, and I can't see that on my screen. Is it? You should have cropped up referrals.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it there.
Yeah, I can't see. Yeah, so referrals. Is it you get 10 referrals, don't you, from strategy A?
Yeah.
And 2 from strategy B.
So I'm making additional 50K there and 20K there. So just for that answer, B.
B.
I'm sorry, A.
Hey, yeah. Hey, cool. Now, it's a bit of a trick, really. It's just interesting to measure down, isn't it, really? How far do you go down to in your measuring, which is great. So thanks very much for your participation on that. But it's a bit of a cheat, really, because I think if you had if you're spending £1,000 and you'll get, I think you get one strategy, you get, what's it? You're going to get £500,000 coming in anyway for both strategies, plus referrals of 50K and 20K. The answer is you do both strategies, wouldn't you, really? Why wouldn't you, really? Because you're buying money. You've got 100. So if I give you £10 every day, if I give you £10 and you're going to give me £50, how long do I do that for? Forever. For as long as I'll just do it forever, wouldn't I? I give you £10, you give me £50. I'm just doing it. I would do it forever, wouldn't I? Be silly not to. So that's the kind of analogy. So hopefully you got that. So thanks, Ket, for that. It's good. It's a little interesting, that little quiz, isn't it? So
Yeah.
just to wrap up a little bit, really, and again, bear in mind, I will send out over the slides to everyone. So I'm anxious that the time is marching on now. So test and measure, really, isn't it? So acquisition cost, so buying customers, is time, money, and effort. Some things are really easy to do. Some things could just take time. They don't cost any money, but they take time. So how much is it of your time do you need to use? Is it a good use of your time and money? Yeah. So again, it might be free, but it might not be very cost effective. Work in the lifetime value. So what's the lifetime value? So pick about if you've got regular customers that you work with, your clients, how long do they stay with you for roughly? How much on average do they spend with you? And that will give you a lifetime value. And with that point in mind, then you can skew your marketing accordingly. Because if you're selling a candle or a card in Hitchin High Street, and you're paying probably £50,000 for rent and rates and water and lighting, heating in your little shop, and you're selling a candle for £5 or whatever a candle costs, you need to sell an awful lot of candles to make some money, don't you, really? Whereas if you're this little picture there on the right, that's actually the Porsche garage in Hatfield. That was a Chamber of Commerce event, and that Porsche was the most expensive car that was in there. That's why I forget what car it was. It was a Porsche, but it was the most expensive car that we could get a picture in front of, really. But unfortunately, you can see it. So how many of those do they need to sell? Not very many, not very many, I wouldn't have thought. So work out lifetime value, how many leads, how many customers, what's your conversion rate, strategy by strategy, and then have some goals. How many customers or clients do you need? Do you want? Can you cope with? Again, that's a very, what do you want to, you can sort of reverse engineer it. So you've got space, I've got space for a couple of more, 2 or 3 more clients. What do I need to do? How many people do I need to speak to get 2 or 3 more clients? I don't need hundreds of people. I can't cope with hundreds of people. But certain people will, won't they? Netflix, they need hundreds and thousands of millions of people. So what is it that what's your target? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so if you have a team, get them involved and get them to coming up with ideas as well. Have the sort of daily and weekly, monthly and quarterly meetings with the team to get their commitment and they're on board. And then that will make the marketing a lot easier, and they'll be coming up with some really good ideas as well, because no one has just got all the ideas in the world by any means. So to finish up on then really, let me just check this little chat. Interesting, bit like open. Yeah, so Jill, interesting open rates in emails. So yeah, how many emails do I send out? What's the opening rate? How many people show up? So how many people do I need to invite along to a webinar to actually get a full screen of people? So there is numbers, isn't it really? Everything is numbers. So those that think that it's not, it is just not, it is numbers. Unfortunately or fortunately, depends whether you like numbers or not, really, isn't it? So have a little think. What are the 1 to 2, 3 things that you need to do now that you might be thinking, oh yeah, that was an interesting point there that someone's raised in the chat. It could well be in the chat box, could be on screen, could be something I've said, something that's cropped up as we've gone along, something that's popped into your head. So it might be something along those lines. Have a little think about that. I'll just reiterate there on the slides, sort of call to action really would be, I'll be sending out a little email just to say, thanks very much for coming along. Here's the slides. So I'll save them as a PDF, and I will download the recording of the session, so we've got it as well, and that I'll put that on my it sounds very glamorous, on the YouTube channel that's that my mum's a member of, and me. So I'm not Seth Godin, unfortunately, but yeah, so the webinar and the recordings will be there, and I do a regular, I say regular, and that's not quite so regular, really. Depends what you mean by regular. I'll take a little break in August, but September, October, November, we've got webinars coming down the track. I'd love to. I quite like doing these webinars now. I've got used to it. It's probably my 50. I think this must be my 56th webinar since the start of it. So interesting how things change, isn't it? Really interesting. So thanks very much for coming along. Really appreciate you coming along and spending the time to see me in action, as it were. Thanks very much, and I'll just stop sharing my screen. Brilliant. And then where's my? I'll stop the recording. I'll do that in a second. Brilliant. So thanks very much for coming along, everyone. Have a good evening. And hope England win on Sunday against the Germans. So thanks very much for coming along.
Thank you, Steve.
Hope to see you all again soon. Bye for now.
Right, see you around.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Dave.
Bye-bye.